To commemorate International Women's Day, today I'm going to be breaking down my top 10 favorite movies directed solely by a woman. Hey everyone, welcome to Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema, and yes, I'm going to be talking about the movies directed by a woman. My favorite, not necessarily the best, this is just a subjective list, and I'd love to see you join in the comments below. What are your favorite movies directed by a woman, so we can have a nice discussion, and make sure to like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to join in the daily content that we put out here on this channel, talking about the love of movies all together, so you don't want to miss joining in this community. But coming in the last place, we have The Matrix by Lena and Lily Wachowski. Now this is a great sci-fi action film, just diving into the realm of the breaking into code and what they do. Keanu Reeves having a great performance. The acting is fantastic throughout. The characters they build and establishing this world in such an interesting and fascinating way. Just seeing different flamboyant ideas thrown out there and having these glitches in the Matrix that means so much to this world that we don't necessarily think about in real life. And so just the whole idea that you go about seeing this story play out is just so much fun, and something that's so much greater for the time that it's released. And coming in number 9, we have Lost in Translation by Sofia Coppola. And now this is another one early in her career that I really enjoyed what they have to offer, with the story having these two different man and this woman, both from different parts of their relationship, and they just come together in Tokyo on a certain business trips, and what they do to bring those two together, an older gentleman and a younger lady, what they have to build up their chemistry together. While it's not perfect, there's something so comforting about watching this dynamic. It's upsetting based on some of their dynamics, based on what they're coming from and the tragedy that they are facing within their current lives, but the comfort to the relationship and how they establish the chemistry, how they build up the story from that is so simple, yet is so complex in the nature of what this film has to offer, and really establishes the intimacy between this couple and between what the outcome is for this story. But coming in number 8, we have Lady Bird by Greta Gerwig. Now I just really enjoyed the coming of age story from this, what Saoirse Ronan brings to this performance, having Timothée Chalamet as well as this side actor, and what they have for all the dynamics throughout high school feels that much more believable for the age. The writing is complex, and what they have for the nature of the different teenage angst sort of that flows throughout the story, but also going into real world problems of how they're delving into these teenagers' lives and the elements of high school, or going into summer, or different dynamics just to different family problems in general, all stack up to make this one wonderful movie. But coming in number 7, we have Bottoms from Emma Seligman, one that released just last year that I just really enjoyed as a comedy, even though I don't tend to enjoy comedies as much because they aren't so much down to earth. This one finds a way to craft something that's hilarious in many different ways, and it's really out there in just its reach, but it still managed to maintain ground rules with what it means to be down on earth, and how they're going, starting this women's fight club and creating these interesting family dynamics between them, and the intimacy between certain characters, the chemistry is something that's really well written, and the comedy is just a laugh. What they have to do, it goes a little bit way too far out there in some certain regards, but it has an ambition that it goes after, and I just really enjoy this film that it has going on. But coming in at number 6, we have Private Life by Tamara Jenkins. Now, this isn't a comfort film by any means, by what they're going with. It's a couple that's struggling and trying to maintain their marriage as they're also facing infertility and just not being able to produce a child, and going over the questions of adopting or going about different other ways, and just the dynamic they go between the relationship, Catherine Hahn and Paul Giamatti. Their dynamic is so great. The chemistry is right there, and the different dynamics of side characters as well builds up to be a real life sort of relationship that's not a fun movie by any means, but one that attaches to me just from the relationships that they establish throughout the characters, the stories that they present on screen to be more real and down to earth, something that's a heavy drama that I don't necessarily love for specific details it gets into, but it still attaches to me because of how well and how grounded this film ultimately gets. And coming in number 5, we have Promising Young Woman by Emerald Fennell. Now, I just really enjoyed the story that they craft. Just this woman that is facing past trauma and tragedy, and so what she does is take advantage and get the revenge on these other unsuspecting men that are just going and trying to get laid with a woman. And so what they have to do with this dynamic of a girl, it goes in wild direction. It creates different sort of intimate relationships between them, and it creates such a fun blast of a film that also creates wild situations that you're not expecting, that you're not, and you're cheering for some healing to something that this has to go through. But it goes in all sorts of directions that you're not always being able to predict how wild this story can flow out, and yet it still delivers all the same for the ambition that this story has to offer. But coming in at number 4, we have The Farewell by Lulu Wang. Now, this is just a genuine A24 film that I really enjoy. The down-to-earth sort of aspect. It's just about this family that finds out about this terminal illness that their grandmother has, but they don't even tell her. And so what all flows out throughout that, and a marriage that they set up just to bring in a relationship and meet up with the grandmother again, and just the dynamic that flows, the difficulty that you see on screen that's difficult but also comforting by what they do in the efforts to meet with their grandmother again and have a dynamic relationship and build up that comfort of trying to find the best they can out of the final moments of her life is just something so hard to watch, but also warm at the same time for different reasons all throughout the film that flows in such a simple way, a slow-paced film, but it takes its time to craft the best story possible. But coming in at number 3, we have Portrait of a Lady on Fire by Celine Sciamma, and I just really enjoy how this film flows out. It's a slower paced film, but it takes its time in creating the best visual picture that you can. The visual intimacy on screen is so well captured, making sure the camera movements or the camera stills are really well crafted, really intimate, and something where you get sucked into this world, sucked into the dynamic relationship between these two women, about a girl that's a photographer trying to paint, and what they have for painting this woman, and how they flow this story all together, craft it in such a intimate but surreal way, is down to earth and something that I just really enjoy. I haven't watched it too much often, but the images stick in my head all the same. And coming in at number 2, we have Wonder Woman 1984, a bit of a hot take on my personal thing by Patty Jenkins, that I just really enjoy the atmosphere this film brings. I wasn't as big of a fan of it the first time I watched, but as of my previous watch that I just gotten into, I just really enjoy the aspect of this superhero film, the dynamics of the things. And there's some realistic aspects to the objectivity of this writing that is kind of unclear. It is kind of off-putting how they bring Steve Trevor back to life in order for this story to happen in certain ways, but it grows over great themes about what you're trying to wish for and the complications and the troubles and the bad effects that you get from getting too much of what you really want, and the struggles that this world faces, and the world scale that they go into with this film creates a great dynamic for the relationship, great action, and it goes into such an interesting parallel story to the themes that it's trying to capture in such a fun 80s style way. But that leaves at number one, Eternals by Chloe Zhao. Yes, another superhero film that I just really enjoy for the sci-fi aspects that I, of course, love the genre on its own. I love the MCU once it gets really well grounded into its own writing, but I just really appreciate what this story has to offer, the colors, the sci-fi visuals, and all of these characters. Even if some people feel like they should have split it up into making it a series, I feel there's a satisfaction to each and every character that was needed for this story, that needed to be offered, and it was going out there and being ambitious for being in the MCU, since it's normally comically accurate for the laughter that you should be expecting from these films, but it is more drama filled and more visually stunning that makes me respect the ambition that much more, that unfortunately we may not be getting to see anything else from these characters ever again. But for what we have gotten, it is self-contained. I really enjoy all the aspects that you get from the characters, the costumes, and everything all flowing throughout with this story, making it one great sci-fi film and a number one film directed by a woman. So that's just my favorite pieces of cinema directed by a woman. Let me know down in the comments below, what are your favorites, so we can have a nice discussion sharing our different takes, because we also have watched different films in different periods of time. So let me know all that. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, to join in this film culture community that we can love cinema all together, sharing our own takes no matter the cost. So that's just all. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.